All right, welcome everybody. Here again with another NeverBoard Gaming community match. It's going to be the grand finals of our Friday Night Magic event with my commentator buddy, Alex B, bringing his blue-white vampires versus Falcon's blue-white deck, but a very different strategy, controlling with Approach the Second Sun as the win condition.
Yeah, this is the grand finals of the FNM match. Very excited to actually be playing for first place for once. There was a point where Falcon asked if he wanted to split with me, and I was like, well, we're going to be on stream. I mean, I'll totally play for stream. And he's like, well, if we're going to play, I'm not going to split. I'm like, all right. All right, fair enough. So I'm going to take a mulligan here.
All right, Hatsu, what do you think? Just low land drop, not enough creatures, or?
I think it was just not enough lands. That's all.
Cool. I see you pulling the monument here on your mulligan, which is really nice to see early in your hand.
Always, always, always.
Throws away the top deck card. Doesn't need it. Falcon's going to be doing a lot of playing lands and passing, but both players content to do that on their turn one.
Yeah, but Falcon much more content to do so. Him going first means quite a lot. It means anything I play is within sensor range, but he's just going to let this Mortar of Dust go, and I'm happy to see that.
Alright, 3 lands and pass. Let's see what you're going to do. Are you going to try to get your monument out now?
Nope. Well, actually, yeah. No, I'm going to play Maverick Fane first. Try to get the engine going. So I've got both parts of my engine this game. This is great. This is exactly where I want to be.
Very cool. So, puts Falcon in a kind of a not great fumigate position, because he always does have to give you your lifelink token back no matter what, but that'll slow you down a lot more than where you're at now. Nope, but he just plays Search for Azcanta. Not a card you want to see a control deck play early in the game. They gain so much traction off of this card. Insanely powerful.
No reason to play anything else when I've already got 5 power with the creatures on the table and growing.
Takes the damage, Marvin Fane triggers, and the board grows.
I think I just go ahead and run out the Catcher's Monument here to see if he has an answer. I've got 1 mana up if his only answer is Censor, but I doubt he has any negates main board. And there it is, it's coming through.
So you think it's pretty common for the approach decks to just leave negates for the sideboard for other matchups?
So, Approach of the Second Sun decks tend to lose very, very hard to decks like Mono Red Aggro, and if you have negates in your main board, that's taking away space that could be used for more removal.
I see. So I guess they just leverage the risk by putting the negates in the sideboard. We are going to see the Fumigate there from Falcon, which is going to allow Martyr of Dust to still bring out at least 1 creature for you to continue your onslaught.
Yeah. It did gain him some life, but I did manage to get the Catcher's Monument out a turn ahead of time, so I can just start rebuilding right away. He's going to have to find more Wrath effects than that if he wants to stop this deck from killing him.
Oh yeah, see, Monument showing its strength right now. He thought he wiped your board, but just like that, it's back up.
4 power worth of creatures. You've got another Fumigate, because if you don't, they're going to come right down your throat. I think he's holding Commit to Memory. We see 1 copy of Approach in his hand already.
Yeah, he's reading the effect of that. I guess wondering if you had a send quite yet, but you're still a few cards short.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 1 more permanent to get to the City's Blessing.
Right, the dunes coming down. That could be helpful late game to just push the last little bit of damage through before he starts gaining life off his approaches. But he does have 1 approach in hand, so we might see that pop out next turn to stall things out.
And I'm expecting Settle the Wreckage, but instead he's got Commit to Memory. He's going to use it on that Warrior token. I'm not exactly sure why he'd use it on the Warrior token and not Sky Marcher.
Yeah, strange.
Or even Catcher's Monument, because the Commit half of Commit to Memory can target any non-land permanent. And Azor the Lawbringer coming down, but he says, nope, as it Scatter.
Man, just when you think you baited out the answer for Azor, he just has 1 more. Still decides to check out Azor.
He wants because that's the shiny one, that's why.
Yeah.
Also, he wants to read the effect to make sure he can still cast instant or sorceries next turn, because he is holding that 1 approach.
It's when he enters the battlefield, it's not a when you cast.
It's not a when you cast, it's when he enters.
That would be sick, too bad.
That would be sick, but unfortunately all I get out of it is the Warrior token, but I'm okay with that. He's got Field of Ruin up, so I'm going to have to start thinking about maybe sacrificing one of these Sheffet Dunes before he aggressively blows one of them up.
Man, and just like that, back up to 20 life. That's the part of that card that just annoys me the most. The life gain aspect of it. Goodness gracious. Couldn't have made that 3 for me or something.
That blue-white approach deck is very, very popular around these parts because hardly anybody wants to play mono-red, and that's its worst matchup.
Yeah, I have an extreme difficulty dealing with approach with my Hedonist Climb build. I'm pretty much just like flailing in the wind before I sideboard in duress and negates.
That island gives me the city's blessing, so now I'm free to just start throwing Sheffet Dunes at him. I don't have any other gas in hand, unfortunately. I think I'm holding 2 removal spells, which are totally dead against this deck unless he somehow has Regal Caracol or Torrential Gearhold.
And those are going to come out, I presume, in the sideboard, and this is where splashing blue actually gives you a great advantage here.
Yeah, this is actually... Game 1 is actually my worst game against control decks. Games 2 and 3, I'm pretty advantaged.
And that's going to be because you just have negates falling about in the sideboard. Are there any other cards that you use to...
Spell Pierce, Silent Gravestone.
Nice. Oh, man, Silent Gravestone. That's a good one. All right, so you go for the buff, trying to just get as much damage in as possible.
This looks like 7. It's 7. So that'll undo the work of that Approach of the Second Sun.
Gosh, but it just feels like you're swimming against the current. So if he has no second approach here, it's just GG right away, but it doesn't look like he does.
Well, it is tucked into his library, but I think he's considering whether or not to crack the Field of Ruin. And it's tough because the each player may search aspect of Field of Ruin is not optional. So if he cracks it, he's going to be shuffling away his own Approach of the Second Sun and will be top decking blind.
Oh, so it forces you to fail to find, and you have to shuffle no matter what if you use Field of Ruin.
It forces you to find a land. You could fail to find if you choose to, but it forces you to find a land as well.
Okay, interesting.
So there is a risk-reward aspect to using it. Here comes Torrential Gearhulk. He's going to target Essence Scatter because there's nothing in his graveyard that's actually going to interact with my board. He did not cast a Settle the Wreckage earlier in the game. So that's an Essence Scatter that's uncastable. Oh wait, no, he has Commit to Memory. He's going to target Commit to Memory and just take out the life-linking Vampire.
Alright, pretty good value off the Gearhulk here.
Double blocking, the Sky Marcher gets through. I think I have Pride of Conquerors in my hand, and I'm just deciding whether or not to cast it here just to push through some more damage.
Yeah, it's tough to use it in a situation like that. Not getting the value out of it that you'd really like.
Yeah, I can't find any more creatures to use off of the Socatris Monument.
This is where Gearhulk as a body just is a really powerful card, but now maybe some of your removal will come into play.
Mortar of Dusk, refreshing some of the power, but not looking quite as great with Torrential Gearhulk, although, like I said, I had been holding removal all game, so... That Gearhulk's going to be going to jail. Thopter arrest.
You're under arrest! He'll now be...
Those Kaladeshi cops showing up once more.
Yeah, he will now be forced to do community service, providing water to the municipal communities of Kaladesh. I mean, Torrential Gearhulk basically could be a Pokemon as far as we're concerned. Actively using Bubble Beam on his unsuspecting opponents.
It's the Blastoise of Magic.
Yeah. Blastoise, beat him up!
And there's Field of Ruin going off once more. Or actually, no, for the first time this game. We discussed this earlier where he was thinking about using it earlier and now he's just going to go ahead and do it. Yeah, it does get rid of that Approach to the Second Sun, but it does make my clock slower.
Man, I guess that was a desperation play there. I'm surprised he wants to shuffle it away.
It's a desperation play because he's at exactly 11 life. If he were at 10, this play would not matter at all and he probably would not do it. He would be trying to dig for that Approach to the Second Sun instead and try to win that way. But because he's at 11... I was actually on a 2-turn clock, but now I'm on a 3-turn clock, so he's forcing me to play another creature because he knows I've had a hard time top-picking creatures. Alright, here comes everything. This is the part where I just lay down Pride of Conquerors, and I'm like, that's going to be game if you have nothing, but no, he's got that other Torrential Gearhulk.
Yet again, no targets though.
Yeah, this time he has no targets. He targets Essence Scatter and says, I can't actually do anything. And... he's going to fall to 3. I thought I had him. I'm like, that's exactly 11. You're going to die.
Oh, Torrential Gearhulk. The masterpiece, too. Such a beautiful looking one.
This is me double checking that he can't actually cast the Essence Scatter.
Yeah,
But
luckily it's only at the instant he's played, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So I cycle this irrigated farmland, hoping to top deck something else to cast off of the Oketra's Monument. I find nothing, and Falcon finds Approach of the Second Sun.
Okay. Wow, even after shuffling it away, it just happens to wind up right on top, almost in the exact timing that it would have been anyway.
This is why I hate playing against Approach of the Second Sun so much, because it can just win out of nowhere by doing nothing but controlling the board.
Yeah, reaching into the luck sack. Alright, both players going to do some sideboard action here. I had some recent talks with people playing the control match, and they say they actually they have sideboard cards depending on whether they're playing first or not, too.
Yeah, and it's the same with me too, because what you're going to see in this particular game, I'm going to have all 4 of my negates and only 1 spell pierce. Whereas when I'm on the draw, I have both of my spell pierces and only 3 negates.
Okay, that
makes
makes sense.
It's a mana consideration as well, because first turn advantage is a thing, and you have to use leaner, more situational answers that could cost less mana when you're going second than when you're going first.
Truly, yeah. So Spell Pierce is good on the play because it's only really useful against control decks really early in the match, or when they're tapping out completely to play something. Later on, when you top deck that card, it feels kind of bad, especially if they're sitting at more than a 6 or 7 mana.
And that's why you usually save the extra copies of Spell Pierce when you're on the draw. Because when you're on the play, you're going to have more mana generally, and the hard counters are going to be just strictly better. So yeah, all the removal is coming out.
Man, so it's going to be a long road to come back and win this. You got to win 2 games in a row against Approach.
Yeah, and they're a slow deck, so if they can stall me out, that's a way to, at the very least, force a draw in an FNM situation. But and here you see me taking out a Cloud Blazer here. I'm okay with that because Silent Gravestone does replace itself.
Man, Silent Gravestone, such a great card for this. I sometimes forget that Graveyard Hate is great against these control decks, just kind of making their Torrential Gearhulk do nothing.
Torrential Gearhulk, Scarab God.
Yeah.
Just those sorts of cards.
And you can occasionally get rid of the thing like a Scrap Heap Scrounger and a couple other builds, but it isn't as important to have Graveyard Hate in Standard, I think, as it is in the other formats.
Yeah, in Modern it's way more important, but in Standard you really only need it for decks like this and like the Scarab God decks. And I suppose God Pharaoh's Gift, if anybody's still playing that out there. Shout out to God Pharaoh's Gift!
It'd be nice to see someone bring that to one of the FNMs, but I think the only guy I ever saw playing it was Mishkar, and that didn't last very long.
I've played against him at a God Pharaoh's Gift mirror. His version was the refurbished version, though, so his was faster.
Nice. Yeah, I thought that was the best way to go about it. I didn't know there was another version.
It's not the one you see a lot in articles, but it's one that people swear by because it's a turn faster than the Gate to the Afterlife versions.
I see. Gosh. I mean, when that Angel of Invention gets brought back, you pretty much end up losing the game. It's pretty crazy.
So Angel Convention is a card I am considering putting in this deck, actually. Even though she's not a vampire, she is a lord. A buff that brings more power to other creatures, has lifelink, and also comes in with a couple servo tokens.
Which is helpful. And especially if you... the servos are 1/1s, right?
Yeah.
So just widening your board even further. And if you have that the buff card in your hand, then those servos are going to actually do some work.
Well, they already do some work if the Angel's on the table, because the Angel makes them 2/2s.
Oh, truly. Alright, turn 1 Sky Marcher.
So, and if you cast her the turn after an Oketra's Monument as well, that's turn 4, you got a spell that provides 8 power worth of creatures.
That's amazing.
And 2 of it's in the air with lifelink. Trying to stick that Maverick Fane out there. Falcon says, nope, Essence Scatter. You can get that super aggro start on me, but once you follow up with Maverick Fane, this is the best start I could possibly get against a control deck. Aspirant into a Danto Vanguard into Maverick Fane.
Yeah, talk about curving out. That's great.
That's the optimal curve here. He's got farm to market for the Sky Marcher. I'm like, well, okay.
Already got him down to 10. Look at this aggression coming out. The vampire's bloodthirst knows no bounds.
And the Legion Conquistador.
Adding more and more vampiric action into your hands. The Conquistador is ready to raid and pillage the Amonkhet Dunes.
And I did importantly miss a land drop here, but I've got so much damage on him, I don't really care. Even if all I do is just keep casting Conquistadors turn after turn, most of his removal is going to be Wrath effects and cost a lot of mana. And that enough of Vanguard lives through most of those. Also, just the fact that if he has Settled the Wreckage, he gets me the mana I need for more expensive stuff.
Truly. Always something to think about. You can come up with some pretty unique plays if you think your opponent is going to Settle the Wreckage. You can get away with cycling some of your other mana, or just,
He's just going to go ahead and take the 5 here, though. Trying to bait me into playing another Conquistador, and I decide not to. I'm just going to pass.
Alright, he just wants to dig. So you just didn't play it Fearing Fumigate there?
Oh, not so much Fearing Fumigate as forcing him to have to play it into the negate that I'm totally holding.
Ah, I see.
Watch, just wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it.
He has no option.
Because he has to do it now. He's at 5. Fumigate.
Look how fast he
Game over.
When things go your way, scoop phase we enter. And Alex, you go ahead and tie it up, putting the pressure back on approach, saying it's not going to be that easy for your control deck. I got some control of my own.
And this is where that one negate comes out for the other spell pierce. Not even blinking. That's the exchange.
Game plan in, riding the little wave of adrenaline that comes from a quick victory like that with vampires.
This is the kind of thing that this deck does to control decks. I am out for Approach's blood. That's what I want to be.
Yeah, I love this deck. I'm surprised we haven't seen any top innings from it, because it is a powerful deck. It can hold its own with some of the best decks in the format.
I think maybe because it has bad matchups with decks like Red-Green Monsters, where they don't go nearly as wide, of course, but they have so many stun effects and flyers and things that are just really hard to remove.
And a lot of removal.
Yeah, they pack a Braid too. A Braid is the most dangerous card against this deck because that can not only kill any of my creatures, barring me paying 4 life for a Dr. Vanguard, of course, but it can also hit a Catcher's Monument.
Yeah. Troublesome card.
Red decks are indeed a bear for blue-white vampires, naturally, considering red's the enemy color of both blue and white. But none more so than any of those mid-range red decks running cards like Rekindling Phoenix and a Braid. I just don't play against them very often.
So we did see a Legion's Landing game 1. That's not a card you run in many copies?
Not game 1 of this match, but game 1 of our match.
Our match, yeah. So I'm not seeing that card showing up. You definitely don't run 4 of that, huh?
Nope, I'm just running the 1-off.
One lone copy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool tech.
And speak of the devil, it's in my opening hand. Here it comes.
Hey, that's a good start here.
Not bad. I mean, I would rather have an Aspirant, but I will take a 1/1 with lifelink.
All right. So little lifelink guy is going to get in here. Not that life gain really matters.
Life gain does not matter at all in this matchup. I care not about my life total. Trying to sneak in that enough of Vanguard, but Falcon's got the sensor.
Yeah, and the pay 4 life ability ain't going to do nothing before he hits the field. Thinking a little bit about what to do here. Maybe a monument play here. Or, I don't know, maybe wanting to get more creatures out onto the board.
Gonna try and lay out Maverick Fane. Again, the counterspell.
Man, Maverick Fane, he's not letting that card hit the board in these matches.
I had the curve this game, too. I was ready to make that Legion's Landing flip over, but he had counterspells turn 2 and 3. Very, very important for a blue-eyed approach to lay those down if they want to have any chance of surviving into that critical turn 7.
Very cool. So he drops the Field of Ruin that turn. And just passes. You decide to cycle, digging for more options. Maybe not enough creatures in your hand?
No, that's the exact problem. Not enough creatures in my hand.
Something like the Conquistador would be nice right now.
Yeah, it would. But all I've got here is a Silent Gravestone.
Has to take a quick look at that card.
Not enough people see the Silent Gravestone, and when control decks and decks running Scared Gods see it, they go, wow, this thing is kind of annoying.
Pretty mean. It's just such a looming dread if you're a graveyard deck and you just see that artifact on their board sitting there that just foils your plans.
Falcon with nothing else to do, going to go ahead and crack Field of Ruin on my Sheffet Dunes so that I don't have it for later.
At least Falcon's not killing basic lands with Field of Ruin.
Oh. Alright. I make fun of people too much for things they do over and over, and I shouldn't do that. That's very mean of me. Anthony Marino is playing in the modern tournament that we're holding as we speak, by the way. That's the background noise you're hearing. We're going to have maybe a couple matches from that tournament for you. Yeah, next time I play him, I'm going to have to tell him, hey, Field of Ruin can't target that island, buddy.
Yeah. It's easy to make a misplay like that.
It's okay. He's a really good player. Like anybody we make fun of on the show is a really good player. Anthony Marino, Anthony Miskar, Dan Caskey. Man, Dan Caskey is the draft master.
The draft master for sure.
I mean, remember we did that iconic Masters draft that one night, and he found just the sickest red-blue deck imaginable.
It was insane. Dissolving everything you try to play.
And then Hypersonic Dragon just magnetized to his hand every time. Take four, take four, take four.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what can you do about it? There's hardly any flyers in black-green.
Yeah.
Here I am trying to resolve that first Legion Conquistador, Essence Scatter.
Gosh, this token's going all the way, dude. Legion's landing.
The little Legion's Landing token that could.
Oh, I thought he was about to cast out the token.
Look, I think he might be desperate enough to do it. In fact, I think this is the turn where he's going to go ahead and spend a Fumigate just to get rid of this token.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And I'm all too happy to Spell Pierce it like, oh, you're willing to Fumigate that token? Okay, play another one.
Yeah, wow.
If you don't
I'm honestly surprised that you've...
if you don't have the mana to pay for the Spell Pierce tax, you're darn right I'm going to Spell Pierce your Fumigate. Even if all it's going to kill is that one token, I don't care.
Yeah,
I know you're willing to spend a card that powerful on one token.
Nice, and here comes Vanguard, who isn't going to care about Fumigate.
Nope.
But he will care for Settle the Wreckage.
Settle the Wreckage, something to watch out for. I think Falcon might have it in his hand already.
That's a tough card. There's not many things that can help your creatures dodge the destructive aspect of Settle the Wreckage, the exile.
You forget, Sucko. I am playing blue mana.
Yeah, so you have negate. You have negate. But
I think I just top decked one off the Silent Gravestone that I just cracked.
So you weren't really worried about his graveyard at the moment, so you just decided I need to dig deeper, go for a more aggressive option?
Well, it's not so important that his cards in his graveyard aren't targetable, as long as they don't exist. That's the same effect on Torrential Gearhulk as far as the tempo of the game is concerned. He does have some of the wreckage, and I do have the negate.
That is 2 Fumigates destroyed this round, countered outright.
And look at me getting so excited about negating that card that I forget to gain life off of lifelink. It's okay. I fix it momentarily. Wait for it.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. There we go. I'm at 26.
Yet again, not that it matters, but well played anyway.
Commit. Adonto Vanguard, a good thing to commit.
This little token has hit him 10 times, dude. What is...
Not 10 times, because Adonto Vanguard did get a crack at.
Oh, you're right, right.
But that token has been on the table for the entire game, and he has played so many things to try and kill it, and he just can't seem to get this one vampire token off the table.
It's pretty funny.
Now, of course, he's loaded up for Torrential Gearhulk again, unfortunately.
But these little blood-sucking creatures of the night.
But again, I do set off the Silent Gravestone seeing that and take away all his options. Now he's at that critical land number 6. The Torrential Gearhulk will not have any value, but it will eat a vampire token just fine. And me not fighting any creatures is looking very, very grim for me.
But then again...
If that vampire token wins the game, it's always impressive to see. Try to sneak in that onto a Vanguard, and another counterspell. He's had a counterspell for everything this game.
Truly. But so have you.
Yeah.
Except for each other's counters.
No counter wars here, but he's going to pull from tomorrow for 2. Not the
It's
optimal pull from tomorrow, but he's trying like heck to dig for something. He took a long time to decide what to discard to this pull from tomorrow. I think he just goes ahead and ditches the cycle land as much as he want to get value out of it. The two other cards in his hand are too important. I know life total doesn't matter in this game, but I think this is the highest life total that I've ever had piloting this deck.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's not really a lifelink central deck. It's more just on the aggressive low end. But occasionally, you are going to get some value from lifelink. Really powerful ability, very underrated.
I think he's holding another Fumigate and just not really wanting to run it out here. Because he knows I'm not finding any creatures. He's going to take it.
Doesn't ever find the farm to finally get rid of this token.
Where's farm to market? Where's anything?
Yeah, this is the kind of clock when you're like watching in middle school and the day you really want to get out of class. Just watching it tick 1 second at a time.
Trying to sneak that Azor in again, but he's got Glimmer of Genius he's going to have to cast right now if he wants to find that all-too-critical Essence Scatter. Censor will not do it. I do have 1 more mana available.
I'd be surprised if he finds it here, especially because he's already used so many of them.
I think he did find it. He's seeing a Commit to Memory and something else. Or maybe that's a farm to market. He's looking at his graveyard. He does have a Fumigate in his hand too, I believe. I think I saw one earlier. So he might be willing to just let this Azor resolve and then kill it next turn. Oh wait, no, I remember what he finds. This Azor is definitely going to resolve, but it's not going to end up mattering. I'm getting excited here. I'm like, yes, finally, I've got a big creature, one worthy of destroying this guy.
Wow. So, I mean, Azor completely stuns these control decks for a turn, right? I mean,
not completely, but mostly. It stops him from playing Approach this turn, but he's got the Ixalan's Binding, which is an enchantment. So that takes Azor off the table.
Shucks. It's only instants or sorceries that can't be cast?
Only instants and sorceries. Enchantments are totally fine. So Azor technically did his job. It got a removal spell out of his hand, but it didn't really stop him from casting anything else because he didn't find the 7th land anyway. He's got a cast out now, which he's probably going to end up cycling. I think I found Martyr of Dusk. Torrential, Glimmer. I'm just going to Spell Pierce this Glimmer.
Nice.
That does exile it, and that does stop him from drawing more cards. But so ends the life of that Vampire token. It went the distance. Took him down to 6 with the help of 1 Adonto Vanguard crack.
Plus, press F to pay respects.
11 damage by this 1 Vampire token.
Pretty insane. Pretty crazy. Alright, so now... Oh.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and hardcast the cast out to make sure Martyr of Dusk doesn't generate a token.
Dang, and we're seeing Approach turn into a Gear Hulk beatdown match.
And me top decking lands. This is Advantage Approach. This is the board state they want to be in. Me looking sadly at my exile pile.
Oh, man.
Mind you, he has burned through so many counterspells now, I might have a chance to sneak something in. Cycle, Irrigated Farmland. Here's a Sky Marcher. Does he have the counter? He does not. I have the City's Blessing.
Ooh, that's good here. Really good, especially with the Dunes on board. 2 Dunes, right? Double Dune.
Yeah, I've got the double Dunes.
What is the mana cost for activation on that?
4 and tap, and sacrifice a desert. So, this is a 2-turn clock here. This Approach deck's got a full grip of cards. It's scary, but it could be worse. Is this Legion Conquistador going to resolve? It is.
Good. Now you're going to fill that hand back up.
I've only got 2 more left because there was 1 in my exile that had been counted early in the game. So I'm only going to get 2, but that's good.
Very good.
So now I've got a decision to make. I can either crack a Chef at Dunes and swing for 3, or I can play another Conquistador, force him to Fumigate to destroy his own Torrential Gear Hulk.
Well, you do also have to consider Settle the Wreckage. We have not seen one of those yet.
And I decide to do neither right off the bat. I'm going to see if he's got Settle the Wreckage, and he does. So I'm not going to stop shuffling. I'm just going to go ahead and find that basic island.
Shucks, yet again, having answers for almost all of your creatures this round. But the important word being almost. Another Conquistador coming out, still leaving 1 in hand now.
So I'm thinking about casting this last one just because it would set up for the flip with the Legion's Landing.
It's a risky play though, because if he does have the Fumigate, then the plan's foiled either way.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has it or not, but I'm not willing to play into it, so I'm just going to pass. I do, as much as I do want to make a 1/1 life-leaking vampire every turn, I don't want to just run into all of his stuff that will run me out of resources. Torrential Gear Hurl coming in, I'm just going to let it through. I want to threaten him with death on board, and I don't have death on board if I just let one of these Conquistadors die.
So he must have something then in this scenario, or else he's not going to just swing willy-nilly.
He can disallow a Shephadoon's activation if he's got it. If he's got another Settle the Wreckage, that will also help him. And he does. That's Settle the Wreckage number 3. The first one was... Oh, wait, no, that was last game.
That's number 2. He did one last turn as well.
He did one last turn. I think this is the third one that he's cast, though, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Either way, a lot of wreckage is being settled to this round. Alright, so let's see what you found here. The other...
That's the last Conquistador, and I think I got Martyr Dusk? Yeah.
Nice, that's helpful right now. Luckily, pulling all the mana out of your deck is just going to increase the chances of you finding creatures.
It's one of the advantages to forcing my opponent to play cards like Settle the Wreckage. If that's their only out to me, then that does thin my deck out considerably. And now I've got a decision to make. I think I just go ahead and block with the Martyr here, because that doesn't take away... Well, actually, no, that would take away from the offense. So yeah, I've got a decision to make here. Do I want to try and kill him next turn, or do I want to save myself? Because my life total is suddenly getting low now. That Torrential Gear Hurl gets already done 20 damage to me. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and throw the Martyr to Dusk in the way. Die for the glory of Torzon. Stave off the inevitable.
Still keeping damage on board. Not going to have enough to get that Legion's Landing flipped over, though.
No, but I do swing in with the life-linking vampire. He's going to look at his graveyard. Does he have another Torrential?
Man.
I think I see a Torrential in his hand, and he's just deciding whether to play it, and he decides not to.
I'm surprised I didn't catch a swing with both right there. You really wanted to have the block available, or was it more...
I did want to have the block available. That was the only reason.
But doesn't block.
But I decide not to. Because, yeah, this was the turn where I'm like, all right. I'm more comfortable being at 7 than being at, like, 6, I guess, but I don't know
That's
exactly
another land, but the Arch is really good.
The Arch of Araska, I was so happy to see this. I'm like, yes, I get 2 cards a turn to his 1. This is great. This is exactly
Seriously.
the top deck I needed, and I've already got the City's Blessing. I could just go off. There's an Adanto Vanguard, one of the hardest creatures in this deck to deal with. Farm to market, not going to be useful.
Truly. So there's a pretty good argument for most decks sticking in 1 Arch for Araska. I mean, that card is just really powerful late game, especially in the control matchup.
We've seen it in Tom Cologne's Band's Approach deck, in fact.
And it feels a little more at home in a deck like that, since it's going to ramp up its mana so efficiently.
And another Fumigate! Forcing me to pay the 4 life so he doesn't gain any, and so the Fumigate doesn't actually work.
It's either 3 or 4 this round. I don't know what's going on with this.
Shout out to that one vampire token from earlier in the game. Hit him for like 11 damage, right?
Yeah, pretty funny.
Only reason I'm still alive. Because it connected so many times and got me up to 31 by the time it died. There's farm to market, but unfortunately I'm out of life to pay, so...
How many answers? How are you getting out of this one? This is insane.
Only by the virtue of top decks at this point. Like, and, you know, Falcon's been top decking amazing too. And then Cloudblazer shows up, gains me more life, gets me more cards.
Suddenly your empty hand goes to a full one, like lickety-split.
This is the power of vampires. This is the power of this blue-white vampires deck.
And I guess Cloudblazer is just going to kind of be a what's the word here? Honorary vampire.
Never give up, folks. Never give up. Especially with a deck like this that can bounce back from post-Wrath board states.
We have seen some wild comebacks here in the course of hosting our tournament, so seriously, it's sage advice from Alex. Never surrender.
Drawing another card of this Arch. Look how full my grip is now. I mean, it's only 3 cards now, but only after I played the land. I could just casually tap out for this Arch of Araska because I've got so many lands in play. Just fearlessly swinging into Settle the Wreckage over and over and over pays dividends. Maverick Fane.
There we go.
Finally, he lands on the table. Trigger Maverick Fane, get a vampire token. But he's got Torrential Gear Hulk. Is he going to farm to market here? No, settle the wreckage.
Oh my gosh.
Giving me more lands.
That is annoying. Holy smokes. His virtual fourth copy of Settle.
Look at how small my library is now.
About to get decked out by Control. That'd be funny.
It's a possibility. And Falcon hasn't even resolved a single approach to the Second Sun yet. He hasn't even found one. He hasn't even tried to cast one. He just found all answers.
Is that Ipni Rivulet too?
Yeah, he's got several in the deck. Ipni Rivulet's a normal thing to play in approach decks because, like, the
Just
intent.
dig down to your approach.
Yeah, that's the intent, is to mill yourself to get to the approach.
And conveniently fill up your grave with Torrential Gear Hulk targets.
Yeah.
Still good damage on board here. Not enough to really do anything. Are you gonna?
I think I've got another creature coming down. No, 2. Double Sky Marchers. Please. For the love of vampires, don't have another Fumigate.
Oh, and he goes to mill you.
He goes to mill me. He knows my library's low. And he fortunately, he passes through my second Azor, so I'm not top decking that dead card. It's under an Ixalan's Binding. Gonna come in with this Torrential Gear Hulk. I have to block it, so I might as well throw the Vampire Token at it, gain some life out of the exchange. And there's another Fumigate.
That I have to count all these Fumigates, man. Falcon running 5 Fumigates, and I'm just.
He's not running 5 Fumigates. It turns out, through his entire 75, he has 4 Fumigate and 3 Settle the Wreckage, and I think he found all 7 of those cards in this game.
That's wild.
Activating Arch Vraska, digging for more. I only find a land this turn. I am running out of gas here. He passes. There's the first monument, and it just gets milled away. He's at 12. It's going to take a lot of work, but he's running out of cards in hand too. Fortunately, top decks Glimmer of Genius here.
What a grind this is. Insane. Getting to see nearly every card in both players' decks.
He chooses to keep one of them, but I top decked the negate, so I'm okay. Whatever he's got.
Oh my goodness. I still can't get over the fact you have, what do you have, like 18 mana right now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got Supreme Will to dig. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Looks like 16?
16, oh my god.
Wait, it might be 15 actually. I might be miscounting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Either way, I think it's 16.
It is 16. I was counting correctly.
Holy smokes.
That's 16 out of 25 lands in the deck. And by the way, some of them are in graveyard, some of them are in exile.
Honestly, I was kind of surprised when you told me your deck had 25 mana. I really was expecting it to have a bit less.
There's the first approach to the game, and I'm just deciding whether to negate this just to stop him from gaining the life, and I do.
Yeah, you kind of have to, I think. Otherwise, your deck is not long for this world with a few cards remaining.
He did run out of Ipni Rivulets, but... And also, importantly, that approach to the second sun is not going to bury itself 7 from the top, so he's going to have to actually work to find it. He did not find a Search for Vraska earlier in the game, so he's not going to be able to dig that way. I'm going to cycle this one Martyr of Dusk, basically my last hope. And he just keeps finding land, too.
Land battle.
Hey, mine are better. I've got an Arch. And he doesn't have a Field of Ruin for it. As long as he doesn't have a Field of Ruin for it, I can just keep drawing cards all day, and that's, I believe, another Danto Vanguard. So I've got Death on board next turn, because I've still got the one Sheffet Dunes just sitting there.
What does he have? Anything?
Let's find out. I'm going to force it. Crack Sheffet Dunes. That's exactly 8 damage. Go to combat. That's game.
Wow, great comeback, Alex. Seriously, awesome job.
I seriously cannot believe I won this, because I thought for sure I was dead.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Struggling through even the bad matchup after losing game 1, not losing hope, and coming out strong, taking the entire tournament. What an excellent showing for a very underrated deck that you really don't get to see very much every day.
This isn't a bad matchup, by the way. I told you. I built this because I knew it could do well against approach, and there's me doing the, yeah, I'm going to punch you sign. It's a little off screen, but...
Although there wasn't too much lousy misplay action there, I think that was just more of a triumphant one.
Oh, yes. I did give the thumbs up first. That was...
Excellent. Well, guys, man, I hope you enjoyed that match as much as I did. And a great job yet again. Got to give kudos to my homie Alex here.
Thank you so much.
Seriously. Well, come join us. if you guys
Archivaraska MVP.
Truly,
Archivaraska.
truly did not stand a chance without that card that round. It came at the right time in the right place. But once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in with us here at NeverBoard Gaming Community, and have a wonderful evening.
Peace out, everybody.